on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 23 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best offensive abilities you should be using right now in MUT 23. Now, if you guys enjoy this video, if you like it, if it helps you out, make sure you go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Shows a lot of support on the channel, helps the videos get noticed. Also, if you're brand new here, you are searching on YouTube for MUT 23 content, whether it's how to make coins, how to get free players, how to build your ultimate team, you found the right channel for everything. Stay a while, click that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on as well so you guys are alerted when we drop additional videos. Let's get right on into it. So I had to look it up. The last time we did an update on the best abilities for offense and defense was 3 months ago. So a lot has changed, a lot of discounted abilities, a lot of zero AP abilities. We're going to talk about the offense in this one. We'll have either Sunday or Monday the best abilities you can use on defense, and once that video is done, we will link it down below in the comment section as a pinned comment if you're watching this one after it comes out. So we're going to be using the Madden 23 abilities tier list on MUT.gg. You can always go to this website. Highly recommend that you guys bookmark it. If you click this little 3-line tab button looking thing here, you got the abilities tier list. Another thing that you can use is the free abilities list. This gives you all of the abilities in the game and all of the players that get it at a zero AP discount, which we will definitely talk about a lot in this video. So let's start with quarterbacks. For quarterbacks, you absolutely have to have, unless you run the ball every time, every down, you have to have either set feet lead or pass lead elite. So that's going to put more velocity on the football. The ball won't hang up there like a balloon, less likely to get intercepted, easier to throw dots. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between the two? It's right in the title, right? Set feet lead, your feet have to be set, but it's going to give you faster passes, faster bullet passes when your feet are set versus pass lead elite. You don't have to have your feet set, so you can go on the run and you're not constricted to, being a statue essentially. So if you can get pass lead elite over set feet lead, that's always going to be the recommendation. And here you can see, if you click on any one of these abilities, you're going to be able to see the players that get it at a discount. Not too many people get it for 1 AP, and the standard right now for the most part is 2 AP on a lot of quarterbacks. And if we go back here and look at set feet lead, the same thing. The main reason that quarterbacks like Justin Herbert and Steve McNair right now are considered the best in the game is because of the discounted abilities that they can get at the quarterback position, and each of them have these abilities at a pretty good price point, along with some of the other better ones that are good for quarterbacks. And that's going to lead us to the next one, which is going to be Hot Route Master. Now, Hot Route Master is going to give you 4 additional hot routes. Ken Stabler has it. You see Herbert gets it there, McNair as well. If you don't need your offense, if your offense doesn't need additional hot routes, don't equip this ability. It's pretty straightforward there. I personally like having the ability to do different hot routes with different players, including my running back, so I'm always going to find value in this, even if I have to pay 2 AP for it. But a lot of times and a lot of players, you're going to see that you have to pick either Hot Route Master or Fearless, and Fearless is a wildly popular ability that everybody runs on their quarterback. This basically makes you more immune or completely immune to under pressure inaccurate throws, which can force a lot of interceptions when defenders are in your face and you try to throw it and the ball sails over the receiver's head, or it just doesn't go anywhere near the receiver other than directly into a defensive player, and they're the receiver now. And you can see, again, McNair, Herbert, these are players that can get Fearless for 0 AP. So for me, it always comes down to Hot Route Master versus Fearless, and I'm going to take Hot Route Master every time, but I would not argue against taking Fearless in that situation. I've lived without it pretty much all year, so I've found ways to get around it and go on without it. But there's a handful of quarterbacks now that can get, Fearless, Hot Route Master, we'll just say set feet lead or pass lead elite, and Gunslinger for 3 or 4 AP, and those are the most OP quarterbacks in the game. And that will lead us to Gunslinger, which you see MUT.gg doesn't have it in their elite tier ability list. This is what I would say about Gunslinger. You have to keep in mind that it's different from previous years. It doesn't add any velocity to the football. It only speeds up the throwing motion. So they definitely nerfed it this year. If you have a quarterback that has either Slinger 1 or Slinger 3 release, and you can always check this information on MUT.gg if you look up the player, you can get by without Gunslinger. But if you can find it for 0 AP, and you see a bunch of quarterbacks that do get it for 0 AP, again, I can't stress enough, Steve McNair, Justin Herbert are a couple of them. absolutely equip it. Even at 1 AP, it's not terrible if you can fit it into that 12 AP limit, but it's not necessary on a Slinger 1 or Slinger 3 release type quarterback. Anybody else, I would definitely recommend having it. Let me be transparent with you here. When it comes to running back abilities, I don't run the ball a lot, so you have to take that for what it's worth. I have an idea of the best abilities for running backs, and my favorite is going to be short and elite because I like to pass the ball a lot, but short and elite is very good for running backs because 9 times out of 10, you're passing the ball to them inside the hash marks. Even on a table route, the ball is usually getting to them before you get to the hash marks. I guess it depends on what side of the field you're on, but at the end of the day, this is going to give you better route running from the running back position, and with so many people rocking man coverage and man coverage blitzes, to get that separation to the running back can be huge, especially if it's one-on-one against a linebacker, and getting in that open space with a running back is always going to be ideal. So if you can get short and elite for 0 AP, and there's a ton of good, not just strictly receiving backs, but actual good power running backs like Nick Chubb is a card that just came out, Gus the Bus. If you can get 0 AP short and elite, I do recommend it. Unless they allow it on golden tickets, the AKA X factors that are treated as abilities will hopefully go away at some given point, but for now, we do have to treat them as abilities. So of course you have the Freight Train, the Quadfather version. That's going to be the most OP one because it's extremely tough to get turned off there. But then you have like Freight Train Derrick Henry and the Freight Train with Gus the Bus, Phenom with Cordero Patterson. These are other ones that you can keep in mind to use that while they're 1 AP and these cards are still higher in overall, they are worth using. Some of your more traditional abilities for running back, number 1 is going to be Bruiser. I like this one a lot because it's basically armbar and bulldozer in one, so you're getting 2 for the price of 1, and there are a bunch of running backs, as you can see on this list, that get it for 0 AP. But not only that, the problem with this one for me personally is that I like to play on conservative. I don't like to fumble the ball at all, so to take away that risk of turning the ball over when it's out of my control, I play on conservative, which means Bruiser will not work because you can't really get stiff arm animations and things of that nature. So the way around that, to me, is if you can get it, is Tank. So Tank, basically, ball carriers with this ability are going to break almost any hit stick tackle that's attempted on them. And, a lot of times if you're going user versus user, your opponent is going to try to use a hit stick because it's just the more fun thing to do, and you're going to break a lot of tackles with Tank. The good thing is you don't need to have any type of juke move or truck move or anything for Tank to activate. It's simply somebody trying to tackle you and it's going to light up. So this is a really good one if you're like me and you like to play on conservative with your ball carriers to get Tank at 0 AP. You can do that and still not risk fumbling the ball. There's a couple other running back abilities like Evasive and Jukebox and Human Joystick. Mutt.gg has them rated as bronze tier abilities. I would tend to agree. If you have, a 0 AP player that can get it and you're not using that slot on a different 0 AP ability, definitely go ahead and equip them. But these are abilities that are good, but I wouldn't waste any AP on them. I'm just going to mention quickly the best abilities for tight ends because these same abilities will be used for wide receivers, and we'll talk about them in more detail. For tight end, short and elite, especially if you can get it for 0 AP, highly recommended. Route Tech, another one if you can get it for 0 AP. Travis Kelce is a player that gets it, highly recommended. Red zone threat on taller receivers and tight ends, another 0 or 1 AP ability, very, very good. It's only going to work in the red zone, so sometimes you don't want to spend 1 AP on something that's only limited to a portion of the field, but it's still a really good ability. And then tight end apprentice if you're not rocking a hot route master quarterback. So let's dive on over into wide receivers, and we talked about short and elite with running backs. We talked about it with tight ends. Now we're going to talk about it with wide receivers. Receivers with this ability catch more consistently while catching passes less than 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. So the thing here is that this has been glitched all year and still somewhat is, to the point where even if you're outside the 10-yard line, it still tends to light up. It's great against man coverage. It's great on like slant routes, post routes, all inside the numbers. And there's so many elite receivers and running backs and tight ends now that get it for 0 AP. If you can get it, you got to take it. Sure, in Elite has been wildly popular from the start of MUT 23 all the way up until now. Sure, Out Elite became really popular around like December, and it's still very good. Receivers with this ability are going to catch more consistently while catching passes less than 10 yards from the line of scrimmage outside the numbers. The thing with this ability, specifically against man press coverage, especially when there's not safety help over the top, is that if you send a streak or a corner route and your wide receiver is on the edge, like he's outside the hash marks, it's going to light up and get tons of separation. So if you're playing a lot of man coverage and wondering why you're getting burned downfield, it could be because your opponent has Sure Out Elite. So when you see all of these good receivers who are now getting it at 0 AP ability early on, if I remember correctly, there was a Jalen Waddle card that was like one of the first to get it at 0 AP, and because of that, he went for 1 million coins. That ability, or this ability, is that good, and you have a card, I mean, you need a game changer token for it, but you have a card like CeeDee Lamb who can get both Sure In Elite and Sure Out Elite for both 0 AP together. That's why he's considered one of the best, if not the best wide receivers in the game. Deep Out Elite isn't as good against man coverage as a Sure In or Sure Out Elite are, but it does help you catch the ball a lot more, especially on those throws downfield outside the numbers past 20 yards, where it's a one-on-one coverage situation with a taller receiver. So if you like to throw a lot of streaks and you have Deep Out Elite equipped on your receiver and you get that one-on-one, your chances of winning that aggressive catch are really high. It's also going to work with like circle routes to beat man coverage and corner routes, things of that nature. Again, all 20 plus yards from the line of scrimmage outside the numbers. And when we talk about like 99 overall Randy Moss, he can get route tech, Short Out Elite, and Deep Out Elite for a total of 1 AP. That's why he's 1 million coins right now. Earlier in the year, when Route Tech was 2 and 3 AP on receivers, it just was not worth the cost, and it wasn't working as well as it has in previous years. I don't know what happened, if EA silently patched it or whatnot, but it works a lot better now, and there's a lot of receivers, again, that can get it for 0 AP. We got Randy Moss, Team of the Year, Justin Jefferson. We talked about tight ends earlier, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. OBJ gets it with all 32 team chems. Makes him one of the best wide receivers in the game, even though he is 5'11". So Route Tech is basically another one that's going to crush man coverage, and with that being the meta with all of the man coverage blitzes, if you can get 0 AP or even 1 AP Route Tech, and you combine that with a 0 or 1 AP Short In or Short Out Elite or Deep Out Elite, those are the combinations that I like to look for. Some other abilities that we won't spend a ton of time on that are worth mentioning, of course, like a Slot Apprentice or Wide Receiver Apprentice. That's if you're not rocking a Hot Route Master quarterback. Red Zone Threat on a taller receiver, if you can get it for 0 AP, is always good. And same thing with Slot-O-Matic, which MUT.GG rates as an elite tier ability. Slot-O-Matic is similar to a Short In or Short In Elite on only slot receivers though, but there are people that can get it for 0 AP. So if you can't fit it into your budget because it's 1 AP with Short In Elite, but you can get Slot-O-Matic for 0 AP, you can use that in place of it. So let's end the video with offensive lineman abilities, and without a doubt, the best ability for an O-lineman is going to be Secure Protector. But I'm going to talk about that in more detail in a moment. On your offensive tackles, your left and right tackle, you absolutely must have either a Secure Protector or an Edge Protector. Now with Edge Protector, there's a lot of tackles that get it for 0 AP. So if you can get it at 0 AP, definitely recommend it. Blockers with this ability reduce an edge pass rusher's chances of using a quick block shed move. So things like Edge Threat and Edge Threat Elite and Double or Nothing are all pretty much nerfed due to either Edge Protector or Secure Protector. And we're now at the point in the year where there's so many players that get Secure Protector for 1 AP that people's entire offensive line are built upon that, and that's why you're seeing a lot of pass rush abilities not work or not be very useful. And we'll talk about that more on Sunday or Monday when we talk about the best abilities on defense. So don't ever equip both of them, and when I say both, I mean Secure Protector and Edge Protector. That's stupid. There's no reason to do it. If you can fit a Secure Protector for 1 AP into your 12 AP limit on your left and right tackle, I would recommend doing that. If you cannot, then make sure you go with a left and right tackle that have Edge Protector for 0 AP. As far as Secure Protector, it is ideal if you can get it on your 2 guards and your center for 1 AP each, and then maybe Edge Protectors for 0 AP on your left and right tackle. That's a really good setup, but without a doubt, you have to have it on your Edge Protectors. After you have your offensive line set up with at least secure protectors on your guards and center, and edge protectors at minimum on your tackles. The other two things that I would recommend looking for, number one, are going to be threat detector. There's a handful of cards that can get it for 1 AP. I wouldn't spend any more than that at this point in the game, but this is going to allow you to see when your opponent is blitzing on 3rd and 4th downs, the most crucial parts of the game. With so many man coverage blitzes, it's great to know when they're sending players at you and when they are not. So threat detector, highly recommended. And then the other one is going to be identifier, which is going to allow you to see who your opponent is usering at all times. This is always fun and great because you can catch them off guard. If they're trying to switch their user from like a safety to a linebacker and they get stuck on the D-line or a cornerback, you can quickly snap the ball because you can see what's happening in real time and catch them off guard, and it'll allow you maybe to make a big play downfield if you were struggling against their user. So identifier, you can get a couple. There's a handful of people that get it for 0 AP on the offensive line. You only need it once. You don't need it on multiple players. So get that at 0 AP. You get threat detector for 1 AP on your offensive line, and then again secure protectors and edge protectors. That's the ideal setup. If you can afford any other abilities on the offensive line, if there's 0 AP abilities, which there's a handful of them, the other ones that I would recommend are going to be nasty streak. If you like to run the ball a lot, this is going to be helpful pancaking, like, you know, players who have sub linebacker, safeties at linebacker, or even, you know, outside runs, cornerbacks try to get in the way. Nasty streak is going to take care of them. If you like to run the ball a lot, that is recommended. If you like to pass the ball a lot, you're going to want to go with post up. You can also try out all day. I don't know which one works better over the other. I don't know if there's even a way to test it, but basically nasty streak is good for running, post up is good for passing. Get your threat detector, get your identifier, and get those secure protectors and edge protectors on the O-line, and you will have a ton more time to pass the ball, and you'll find that running has become so much more effective. One other thing before we get out of here with secure protectors, I forgot to mention that also neutralizes to an extent inside stuff. So if your opponent has a defensive tackle or two with inside stuff and you have secure protectors on your guards and center, that's a great way to neutralize it. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. My name is Popular Stranger, and I'm out. Peace.